Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Spotlight session. I am here today with Juan, who is the winner from my challenge from actually not the previous, but the month before that, because we had a little bit of time to organize the Spotlight. And I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome, Juan. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. Um, as a start, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, just for the people who don't know you yet on Substack?
Sure. My name is Juan Gonzalez. I'm a former web developer that turned into technical writer and then did some content writing and started going into this sort of thing online, like, like posting and sharing. And I found that way better and more interesting than my previous job. So kept doing this for like the past 3.5 years, maybe four.
Really?
And so, yeah, that's it.
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot, actually. Um, yeah, I also know a little bit about coding and programming. I am into Python programming. I'm really
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's your language? Um,
Like funny enough, I started at somewhere like October of 2023, like trying to learn Python as well, because
okay.
AI and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then, but I wanted to do it like a sort of a learning challenge.
Okay.
So, like, we can talk about this later on, but my thing is like doing this sort of challenges to prove to people that it's possible to learn something new and you don't have to take like a
No.
year or 6 months or whatever it is. So, it was sort of a, sh well, not show and tell, but I'm saying you can do this thing, so I'm just going to be the first one to prove that is possible. And I started kind of like documenting the process. And the challenge was to learn something and like go from, I don't know, I just know the name is Python,
Okay.
to I have a program that I developed myself, and the idea was do it in 1 week. So that's like a tight deadline. And the funny thing is that the first few days I have some technical difficulties. So I was able to start just on Wednesday. Like it was the first day that I could start doing something. So it was a little bit fun, a little bit stressful, but I survived. And then from that point on, I started like picking up some things here and there, and learning a bit of like cool things to do, like in my spare time, weekends and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, yeah. No, I also believe that we should never stop learning. I think that's the one thing that we as human beings have to always keep going and learn new stuff, because that's how you grow and that's how you develop. And even if it is a little
exactly.
bit difficult, it keeps you outside of your comfort zone, but it also helps you grow, and
Hmm.
with new ideas, and especially for the creative work that we have online, it's super important, I would say. It's really, really important.
Definitely.
And with Python, by the way, I haven't finished it yet. I have just two modules left, and then I'm finished. It's a whole diploma. In my case, it's a full stack programming uh,
Nice.
learning curve, and it's really complex, and everything from databases and so on. But yeah, it was an amazing experience for me as well. I learned that I have to think in a completely different way, because I come from the commercial, not so technical
Hmm.
part of the world, with sales and marketing and things like that. And for me, even though I'm a very techy, like geek type of a person,
Hmm.
and I love numbers, this was really a challenging experience to me. And
Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
and especially to understand, I think the most curious part of it was to understand how this software world and digital world is connecting to the physical world, like how the computers actually work, this level of abstract levels of abstract layers that you have, and how the physical turns into digital. It's really amazing. But yeah, but today we're talking about you. Not,
Yeah, and especially on this current age where like things are so integrated and we're basically living online, so everything is like like here in this
yes,
rectangle. So and people is like still kind of like don't, you know, like maybe not used to it, but if they are used to it, they don't know how to use it like fully, like to leverage everything that is possible. So it's kind of like a mindset shift, but also from the what you mentioned, the willingness and the disposition to be like, okay, this is something difficult or this is something that I have no experience with, but let me figure out things. Let me try, let me just play around and see instead of being like the typical, oh no, technology is very difficult. No, that's not for me. No, I'm not, I don't have the talent. It's like I'm already old or whatever excuses in the mind of people.
yeah.
So that's one of the, I think that's the main challenge besides actual skills and actual difficulties. Like the main challenge is here. So,
In the mindset, yes, yes, definitely. I also see it like that, definitely. Right. Okay. Tell us maybe can you share how did you start? How did you decide to start a Substack in the first place?
so lo- like long story short, well, the actual response is that I wanted to like do the newsletter thing like for years, and I started sort of like finding different platforms and which one is better and doing all these kind of pros and cons. And I am ashamed to admit that I spent way too much time in that, and I pretty much saw every email platform that exists,
Yeah.
and that much stuff around there kind of like made me a little bit overwhelmed, and I procrastinated doing the email newsletter for like a really long time. And then I was in a group in a community, and two people launched sort of like a course, like a pilot of a course to start a newsletter. And I was, okay, this is my chance, because if I do it myself, I'm just going to keep procrastinating. So I took the course.
Yeah.
They suggested to start doing something on Substack because they were already like writing on Substack. And
Mhm.
at that time, it was like the typical newsletter platform type of thing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, let's figure stuff out. Let's try
Give it
something
a
out.
try. Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
yeah, and then it come Beehive, like the competition, and a lot of people started flocking there. And I was like, no, I'm just going to stay here. Like, I don't want more shiny object syndrome. I'm just going to stay in this platform, and I'm just going to write. And then it was like a sort of a transition from what I was doing online before, like in a personal blog and then on Twitter. And then because of the changes of the platform, I decided to start moving towards more Substack. And then things started improving on Substack. And hey, we are here now. So,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I also heard in the beginning there was no notes, and actually the challenge was that you cannot really grow organically and very difficult.
mhm.
And you had to bring your subscribers. And I created my account. I remember it was 2023, 1 year before I started. I started last year in 2024, in somewhere in June. So basically 1 year. But it took me a few months to figure it out, and actually went all in, so to say, in September last year. But before that, 1 year before that, I created my account and never really started, just because of that reason, because I was with the impression that I had to bring my own subscribers to the platform, which is really
Yeah.
difficult to build
It,
outside Substack. I'm so happy that they launched this notes thing and the recommendation system.
it's really difficult, and I didn't have any subscribers prior to this, so I literally started from myself and a test account that I used to subscribe to my own
Yeah.
newsletter to see how things will look from the other side, and then like keep going from there. So yeah.
Right, right. Can you share a bit more about your Substack, what it is all about?
So it's called Supercharged Learning HQ, which is basically like um like in a nutshell, is like imagine it's sort of a place, like an actual place. I took some inspiration from like the James Bond series, so
Right.
it's sort of like the headquarters from the whole series, and there are agents that are being trained to do, all those kind of things. So the idea is like it's sort of a place where people can go and discover all this, not only like the information,
Yeah.
because information is everywhere, is like the insights that are like able, like people are able to use the insights and apply them and get results right away. It's more like the practical approach to doing things, to learning things, to acquiring skills, to getting from zero to like zero knowledge, zero confidence, to I know how to do things and I'm able and capable to do them. So it's more sort of in that sense a training ground, but I also use and weave in things so it feels also like a playground, sort of
Yeah.
like experimentation lab and type of things. But the main kind of like the main idea is helping people go from like maybe too much knowledge, too much uh, information here in the brain to actual results out there. Oh, this is actually possible. Oh, this is cool. Like that sort of thing. And it's kind of like a culmination from what I've been doing. I don't know, since 2018, like in different part bits and pieces here and there, and everything sort of like culminated into this, which is kind of
Yeah.
like the learning approach for like people like me that are generalists and have multiple different interests and multiple different passions. And then what do I do with all of this? So like the common thread among everything is that sort of meta learning, like learning how to learn, but not in the academical, like brainy, super technical approach. Is more like real life stuff that you can do like tomorrow in a weekend if you want. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really interesting. What is your so what are your main topics of learning? Is it
so
the programming or it's everything?
no, like I mean, I did that thing of helping because I participated in a work in coding boot camps in the past, and I actually help people like learning different skills from web development to like get a job and like change their trajectory and maybe change their life because they have access to a better high paying job and all of that. And that's cool, but I eventually realized that the kind of like learning tech is one thing, like one thing you can do, but there are other people that are not tech inclined, that they want to learn other different things, maybe like marketing or digital content, or maybe they want to do video editing, something like that. And for them, it will be kind of like super foreign.
Yeah,
So my initial thing was the whole learning how to learn thing, and then sort of in a general approach, but then sort of like writing and interacting with people and being able to work with other people sort of more in a one-on-one type of scenario. I started seeing that it's more like not the actual skills themselves, but kind of like the background, like the foundations and the whole, like laying the foundation for learning pretty much anything that it is. So I use, of course, examples like practical examples like coding or marketing or things writing, which are really practical because it's sort of like balancing super general abstract things and practical application. But the idea is to be something that people can like you can go right there, like read one of the posts and get something that you can apply maybe to your own situation,
yeah, yeah.
even though it's not like a specific maybe to you if you're a writer or if you're a coder or if you're a musician or whatever.
No, no, it's really amazing. And yeah, I think so. Back in the days, I think it was about 3 years ago. In my 9 to 5 job, I had to hire. I was running a small small, let's say 50 people agency, digital advertising agency. And it was about digital marketing, but I wanted to create something which is basically one-stop shop for everything, also website development, SEO
Mm-hmm.
optimization, social media management, content creation, content business for the businesses, and also paid advertising like Google and social media advertising and so on. And because of that, I had to hire people who are um, very well educated and also have the skill of the marketing and also writing, but also the technical skill. And then I learned during this process that it's very hard to find a person who is really good in the commercial part, in the marketing part, and has at least some knowledge in the technical part. It's always the one thing or the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the people are either very very tech oriented and really good in the tech stuff, but have no idea about marketing and the sales part. And then the other people who are really good in sales and marketing have no idea about the technical stuff, how to set up things. And I needed at least one person who is more or less good and well prepared in both areas to come with me and talk with clients, because
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
clients have to, and I couldn't find such a person, so I educated myself. So that's why.
Nice.
Yeah, so and that's how I started. Actually, this was one of the reasons why I started also learning programming, and also search engine optimization and a lot of technical stuff, artificial intelligence, everything.
Mm-hmm.
I can sit down and create my own paid advertising in Google and Facebook, and I know how to run it very technically and and install everything and so on, which is very. And now when I have my content business as well, I see in the writers that it's basically, it's not only in my country but pretty much everywhere. Most of the people are either good in the writing and marketing skill or in the technical, but there are, I think it's a trend. I think more and more people are starting to realize that marketing is becoming more and more technological, and
Mm-hmm.
technology is becoming a lot connected very much to the marketing. So basically, you need to shift your skills to improve and to to educate yourself. So I think what you do is amazing, and it will be very much needed in the very near future, if not already now.
Yeah. It's interesting because like I started doing this sort of work before AI was a thing.
Yeah,
And now people are like, oh, well, there are two camps of people. There are the type of people that are like, oh, I don't need to learn anything new because I can just ask ChatGPT whatever, and it's going to give me like the answer. And there's another group of people that are like, oh, okay, so now I basically can do like they can do everything because they sort of
yeah,
see it as a way to like uh go from like go from very little knowledge to extract all the information and all the things from the internet and then have like a sort of a more curated way of learning things. So it's interesting because it's literally the same technology and people are saying like, I don't need to learn anything. And there are people say, I can learn anything. So I can do everything.
yeah,
And then I started I mean, I didn't push the message that forward, but I started saying, oh, this thing of generalists back in the beginning of 2023. And a lot of people came to me and be like, no, you have to be an specialist because generalists are just like sort of mediocre average people and they don't get paid well enough, whatever. And fast forward to today, like specialists are like, I mean, cool, you are super good in marketing, but we need someone who's broader in their skill set. So we need more. And so it started shifting. And for me, it was funny because it was like, I told you so. I've been telling this since like, like 2 years, but I sort of made because it's always been the debate that which one is better, generalist or specialist, better. But for me, like those are like those type of falsehoods. Like they are like fallacies that you don't have to choose one or the other. It's not. what do I choose? Coke or Pepsi? Or what do I choose? It's like, no, both. Like you can do both. Like there's no need to
Yeah,
be like, like pro AI or anti AI. No, like you can do both. Like why are we choosing? So I started last year, around kind of November or something, kind of pushing and coining the term of the specialized generalist,
yeah,
which is like a person that is has a broad set of skills, but is in a kind of like in a particular sort of niche. So
yeah,
you could be, and with AI, now it's even easier. It's like literally there. It's not like something that is theoretically and sounds nice, but in the practice doesn't apply. It's like you can actually do these things. You can, like for instance, you that come from a marketing background, now you can even start building applications and
yeah,
start building actual software, and you can use one of these platforms, and it's just a matter of learning a few concepts, like uh, how to deploy things or what platforms to use. It's like just learning concepts. You don't even need to learn the code itself. Just
yeah,
learn a couple concepts and just start doing everything yourself. And if you learn maybe a couple concepts in sort of the content space, you can do also videos. So you can write, you can build, you can market, and you can make the videos. Like literally your own agency, and you
yes,
don't need that anything else. But it's kind of like a set of skills, which is something that I've reading about this like a few times, and a few people that I've worked with like the approach of doing sort of like a stack of the skills. So in the technical world, we say full stack,
mm,
a person that knows backend and knows frontend.
yeah,
So they are like the the do it all type of people. And I'm sort of saying that you can do also a full stack, but not necessarily in the technical aspect, but a full stack in the sense of a creator. So like I just mentioned, you can do
okay,
marketing and you can do product development, and you can do the 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 demand generation, all this, but you can also choose a different stack. I don't know, like music, and then you do your own videos, and then you do content creation. So you can be an artist that does your own thing, and we can be like here saying examples the entire hour. But the idea is that you can have like a stack of skills that is related to maybe your skills. Well, no, to your interest and the things that make you curious to know more about. And it's not like you are going to be shooting in different directions, because there's a lot of people I know that they sort of like they like magic, they like chess, they like cooking, they like writing, and they're like none of that is related. And the approach is okay. At first, maybe it's not related, but sort of like working more in a little bit more of a deeper capacity, we can start seeing that maybe there are common trends that you can start using, maybe writing about cooking in a more showmanship approach. That is something that you can do, and something that people don't really do, and you have like an edge. So you don't need to be like the person that talks about cooking. You can be the person that does this group of related things, and that is like your competitive advantage. Not
yeah,
like you are just another guy in the internet talking about X. Like you can be your own sort of group of skills, and you can differentiate yourself in that area. So yeah, all in all, is just to say that it's it's even more possible now, and like the important part is that people realize that's the case, and
yeah,
sort of have some examples to see, okay, maybe it's not like a dream out there, it's actually possible, and maybe I can do it as well, which
yeah.
is the
Yeah, no, no, yeah. And I also like this concept. How did you call it? Generalists.
the specialized generalist. So you are a generalist, but you are specialized in an area. So you are like the best of both worlds. You're not one thing or the other. You are both, but like the best of both.
No, it's great. It's great. Yes, and I also have seen a lot of those examples that people want to do a lot different things which are not really connected, but at the end of the day, you have to, you have to have some kind of a clarity about the or a vision. Where do you want to land in about 3, 6 months or something, and work
Mm-hmm.
towards. because you could learn pretty much, you know, the more you learn, the more you understand how much you don't know and how much there is to learn. So
Hmm.
it's basically impossible to know everything. So yeah, so I would say this is a really, really great concept. I love it so much. And this full stack creator, it's really a great.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But have you noticed? I'm just curious. Have you noticed this? There is. I noticed on myself. There is some moment where I go too deep in learning, and it's kind of. I keep learning and learning, and I want to learn more, and I'm not really doing. That's
Exactly.
it. Kind of makes you feel stuck. I don't know how it is called. It's kind of. I think it's a kind of a learning extreme situation. That's have you noticed this with your audience? Are there people who
Yeah, like that is something that I'm guilty as charged of doing for way too long, maybe. And maybe like one of the approaches that I take in my newsletter is kind of, well, is one of the reasons that I started in that way was to counter that situation
Mm,
because it's too easy to go into rabbit hole learning mode and
yeah,
then just, like it turns into some sort of maybe intelligent procrastination,
yeah,
but at the end of the day, you're not doing much. And one of the main things that I work with people, or like even people that I'm not working one to one, that I'm sharing with friends and close friends online, is to try to make like structure things in a way that is not so easy for you to fall into the rabbit hole. It's
yeah,
more kind of geared towards practice and then learning, which is another of the approaches that is unconventional because for most people they're like learn, which is read or watch videos, and then they go and try to do things. But
yeah,
it's mostly like learning based, which is like it feels productive. You are filling your brain with knowledge and you feel like intelligent. You're like, wow, I'm making so much progress. But in reality, you're literally just getting started. So one of the things I do is like I go to the sort of the opposite side and it's like start doing something, start actually,
yeah, yeah.
like
Certainly.
like practical, yeah, practical example will be watch 10 minutes of a video and start doing something, and people are start being uncomfortable, like, I don't know, I'm not prepared, I don't know what to do next, and in that way I kind of have to be like this sort of tough love type of surgeon. It's like, no, like you can do the thing, but you need to kind of get comfortable with that discomfort and that
Yeah, yeah,
like the whole push past your comfort zone and
yeah,
self-development type
yeah,
of thing. That is kind of like the practical way you use that sort of knowledge instead of like self-development becomes like a trend, and
yeah,
like cold showers and wake up at 5 a.m. and everything is so theoretical. It's like this is something where you can literally practice that and apply it and start getting results because it's a different approach of, like filling your head with information and filling your hard drive with
yeah,
PDFs and stuff like that than actually doing something and getting feedback. And that is kind of like the way that most people don't think about it, like they think about that backwards. So it's one of the main things I start working from, and then like the whole mindset and the whole personal development goes after that. But the idea is that they start sort of like facing that initial resistance, initial pushback, and be like, okay, mm, maybe I'm not really ready, but let's start doing something, which is kind of like the willingness to be like, this feels difficult, but I'm going to try it anyways. And that's one of the reasons that I do what I do, because doing that yourself is super difficult. Like you do that yourself and you're going to back off. You're like, no, 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 I cannot do it. And that's where you need someone who like understand that and be like, yeah, like that happens, that's natural, but keep going, like push a little bit more, and eventually you go past that sucky zone, and then you start developing the actual skills, and you're like, oh, I don't suck that much now. Like I can do this on my own. and
Yeah.
that's kind of like the goal that I aspire to help people reach. So yeah.
Yeah. Learning by doing, I think, is the most powerful way to learn, and not just consuming content, but actually doing the stuff. That's the best way to learn, to do it. Basically, there are like levels of learning, and this
Hmm.
is the most efficient one. Right. Can you? So you're for so long on Substack. Can you share out of your experience what worked best for growth and what didn't? Can you?
So at the beginning, like since it was more newsletter kind of approach, I used to, like write the emails, send it, and call it a day, and maybe post it in Twitter or in a group here in a group online here and there, like, hey, take a look at my thing. But like that not only doesn't work that much, but you eventually become the spammy people, like
Yeah.
always like, hey, look at my thing, hey, look at my thing. So one of the things when notes started coming, like I really didn't pay much attention, like I really didn't value it. It was like, okay, like Twitter, but in Substack, like who cares, you know? But then sort of the type of people that was in the platform was a completely different in a completely different mindset and were different people. They were not like the typical hustle bros
Yeah.
DMing people selling stuff. It was more like writers and creatives and people trying to uh show their stuff, but also kind of finding this place where you can be in a group of people with others without being bombarded by spam or whatnot. So I
Yeah.
started kind of interacting with people a little bit more in notes instead of just posting and then disappearing.
Yeah.
And then sort of like the connections, because for whatever reason, I don't know, like the Substack, like the DM features works better than any other platform, and it feels super approachable. Like
Yeah.
there's someone out there who has, I don't know, like 500, 800 subscribers, but you can like talk with them and they reply back and they're like, cool, yeah, you did something cool, like I like your note, let's do something. It feels like you're literally in a kind of in a group setting and there
Yeah.
are peers, and there's no like in Twitter, like big, huge accounts, anonymous accounts, and you feel super minuscule and unimportant. Here, it feels like we are sort of in a convention of writers, and it's like the break in the middle of the speakers, and we're just chatting with each other. Ah, you're writing about that. Oh, that's cool. I am writing about that. Oh, that's cool as well.
Yeah.
So that whole kind of approach to not seeing like the accounts or the persona, but sort of more people, like people talking with people, made it more approachable and made like more likely for me to start being more present. And funny enough, that started also leading to like the growth, like getting more likes or restacks in your notes, getting comments, getting more subscribers, getting actual comments in the post instead of like, crickets. And then sort of that one of the things that I saw is that the periods where you are active, like
Yeah.
going daily or consistently, there's people around that notice, and the moments that you sort of, for whatever reason, mm, put a pause or you have to do somewhere elsewhere, then that starts kind of like slowing down, but you can restart that easily as well. It's not like in other social media platforms where if you miss 1 or 2 days, you're pretty much a ghost, and then you have to rebuild the whole momentum all again, and then all, so it's more approachable and I guess friendlier in that sense. So it's not the whole content treadmill that you need to be churning out content every single day, or else you're going to be forgotten forever for the algorithm. So I think that mindset of saying of seeing people more like, like we are chatting and we are sharing things allows for this type of organic growth to happen more spontaneously.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. But I'm curious, have you had an experience when you share your links from Substack to social media, especially X, former Twitter? Have you noticed that they limit the visualization of the links, like shadow banning those links?
Yeah, definitely. Like in the first maybe what in the first 6 months, it was literally that you couldn't post like the most you could do is like post the image that when you make a post like Substack give you the image, and then you could write something like in the tweet or the post or whatever and put the image and send it, and then maybe I don't know 15-20 minutes later you can reply under that with the actual link to the post,
Yeah.
and that will help you like maybe not completely shadow on the post, but get it some sort of traction and you're getting some likes. But that like the comment that you post with the link, that's completely like you'll be lucky if you have 15 views with that.
Yeah.
It's like so I have to play this kind of game in the algorithm to get some exposure for my newsletter and maybe posting like replying some comments of or posts so people actually go to my profile and check the like a lot of things that I have to do initially that eventually I was when like Substack started doing more the like the algorithm changes and the nodes. I was less and less motivated to do that because it's like, why do I need to bring people over if I'm already getting better people here?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the previous friends that I have from X, but in that case, I can personally DM them, be like, hey, I posted this. Do you have any feedback? That's even better than just posting something and no one sees it. You could pretty much bury a dead body in my profile and no one will see it because there's no reach. So
Yes, yes. No, I also, and I figured I saw some other writers are doing it, a workaround with a custom domain, and I decided to also implement a custom domain for my Substack. And this way, even so of course, again, you have to post in the comment and not in the main post, otherwise it simply doesn't get distributed. But when you post in the comment a link to some other custom domain and not Substack, then it's better. It's much better.
mm, nice.
Yeah. So that's something that that I noticed. All right. Can you share some challenges that you had throughout those years of your growth? Anything that you faced and how you addressed it?
Yeah, I guess one of the biggest challenges is that if you come from other like social media platforms, you are used to these kind of tools that pretty much let you do the whole content on autopilot. Like you can write the stuff, you can schedule the stuff, you can even do automations on the replies and whatever. And you come to Substack that doesn't exist. So you are like kind of starting from
Mhm.
zero. But I guess it's also like in retrospect, I like that because it
Yeah.
forces you to have a different mindset. It's not like, oh, this thing that I can automate and I don't care about it just bringing me leads. It's not, no, you here you have to be a person and talk with other people. Like
Yes.
that's how it works. Like you
Human.
cannot just be the anonymous person automating everything and
Yeah.
you know, it's like more connection, more and that sort of authenticity is what sort of brings people in and be like, oh, this is a guy that actually is writing stuff that is cool, has a good story. Like I'm interested in seeing what else he's posting instead of like, yeah, another of one of the past 15 accounts that I post about stoicism. Like
Yeah.
who cares? Like
Exactly.
maybe it's like I don't know, like a 15-year-old guy living in his parents' basement for all I know. Here is like, oh, I know, like, at least I know this person. Like, I can see the person, I can see the name, I can see what they write about. Some people are actually talking about their own life experiences, so I can even know what they live because they're saying that it's not just regurgitating content. And but the challenge as well is kind of shifting that mindset of, okay, like I'm person that those are as well kind of in the same space. How can I sort of uh, maybe do that relation, that connection, but without the past baggage of transactional DMs? Like, hey, follow for follow, or
Yeah.
hey, if you comment in your stuff, I'll comment in. It's like, no, like how to relearn that talking with people. It's like, okay, learning how to talk with people again in through online.
Yeah.
And that was sort of like the mindset shift as at first that I had to do, and then with the time and the months I was able to see maybe for from the other things that other people do, the approaches, and
Yeah.
they will be like, okay, like I don't want to do it that way. Maybe
Oh,
let's try a different approach. So kind of trial and error
all right.
to learn how to do like a better job of not being not too salesy, of too
Yeah.
transactional or too distant or anonymous or whatnot.
No, it's different. Yeah, sometimes it's actually difficult to learn how to be human again and connect with people, and not the traditional social media the way that it is right now. Actually, yeah. Right. Okay. Anything that you plan to introduce in the near future in your Substack? Anything new?
Yeah, so like I guess for the first year and something, maybe year
Yeah.
and a half or something, I was just, like posting um things that were in a sort of way related to a couple of themes, but there were like different posts that talk about different kind of points, the pain points and solutions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I started kind of like also with feedback from people, like gathering some things together and some I would something like paths, like the content in overall is sort of general and abstract because it helps to see that it's like it helps you with pretty much anything, but there's also some practical kind of like specific use cases. And I also started kind of like talking and sharing about experiences of friends, of people that I work with, like their results, so
Yeah.
as a kind of like practical example use case. And then uh, I was talking with like a friend a couple of months ago, and he was saying something around I mean that's sort of an idea that resonated with other people later on, but he was initially kind of doing these sort of themes. So if you are like, like started from scratch, let's say, just to put an example, let's say you quit your job or you got laid off for whatever, and now you see that this online thing is interesting, but you don't know where to start, what to do, like what do you want, whatever. So it's sort of like doing kind of like a path, or what sort of a stack of skills is more related to you,
Mm.
and then use kind of like the previous content as like the background knowledge, but more related to the practical application,
Yeah.
like the actual step by step. And if you need to know like the background and the context, then okay, you can refer to these posts that talk about these particular things. So those paths or those stacks maybe is one of the things that I'm working on to include going forward.
Right.
And also there's something else that I think is cool, like for the whole kind of vibe or general theme of the newsletter or the publication, is to sort of make like a command center, like for the HQ, like every HQ has their command center, and from there you can go to different places. So it'll be like something like a content directory, kind of like you arrive to the HQ and then you see, okay, if I want to go to certain place, then I know these are the places that I need to go or the articles that I need to read. And
Yeah.
if I go to something different, then I can go to these other places. So it's kind of like centralizing the bunch of stuff that I done, and both in the platform and off the platform, and be able to like sort of do a choose your own path type of adventure. And I guess in that sense as well, it can be further improved and further enhanced with also content from other people, like maybe collaborations or maybe lives, to sort of add to that mix of like different mediums, not just writing stuff or reading stuff. There are
Yeah.
different approaches to consume that, but it's more like a um, yeah, tailor approach, tailor initially, instead of just hey, this is a bunch of posts that you can read whenever you have time. This is more like if you want something particular, go to this place.
Yeah.
Those two things.
No, yeah, of course, of course. Have you noticed are collaborations really a good growth tool for you, or actually, have you tried them up to now?
Yeah, I've done a few, like both like reading and then two Substack lives that I've done
Yeah.
that I like initially I do them because like I in a way I actually like kind of sharing and discussing these ideas to people with people and kind of getting sort of feedback and different insights. But of course they work like as a growth tool in the sense that you're exposing maybe different people to different types of content.
Yeah.
But for me personally, like I mean I'm not really like from the of course I do have some marketing knowledge and uh kind of like um yeah, knowledge, maybe background, no, but knowledge. I don't see it as like, you know, the whole type of, okay, if I do this with this person and then I share a lead magnet and they give me X amount of leads and then like I don't see it in that way. I see it like, okay, this person is cool, is talking about something related, then I can sort of share insights, trade a couple, you know, subscribers recommendations, whatever. For instance, Daniel Hirsch from the publication that I met through your chat. It was one of those things where things click, and
Yes.
it was like, hey, you're also one of those people I'm talking about. You have a set amount of skills, and you're doing things both online and you know in the real life with the farm and whatever. So those are the type of people that I want, like, you know, to talk with, to collaborate with. And one of the results is that, hey, you get more, like, more people interested in your stuff, you grow organically, but that's sort of like a bonus, you know, like it's more like that's a cool thing. In a way, it's like money. Money is a cool thing to have, but it's not like the main type of thing. So it works both ways. And I guess in that approach, it allows you to be a little bit more spontaneous and not just like, oh, I need to make this connection because I need to fill my quota of people I need to interview for this one, or you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Daniel is a great guy, actually. And it's great that you can, that's also something that I love about Substack, the way that you interact with people and you actually build real connections and relationships with other people, which is not something that I have been experiencing on other social media in any way. And even on Medium, actually, even on Medium, the connections with people, yeah, I had some relationships with people and I still have them in my circle of connections, but still the majority of the people on Medium were more like transactional reading, just because, you know, I want to read your stuff and put some comments and highlights, but I'm expecting you to read my stuff. You know this,
Hmm.
because we make
Yeah,
money out of it, and not
yeah,
so much because I'm really interested in what you have to say, which is
exactly.
not the case on Substack, and I really love that. And also
And
the quality is much much higher.
yeah, and the thing of Substack is that you can do both. Like it's not
Yeah,
you are doing the transactional because you can earn money. It's like you can actually be interested in people, like talking with people. And one of the things you can actually like make money from that. You can actually monetize that. So you can do both. It's not like I need to sell myself uh for the money or do some rand or you know like
that's
start
the
doing
thing.
random dances in TikTok because that's going to bring audience. No, you can be like actual person, like be interested in people and then do the whole thing. You can do both, which is for me personally, Substack is the only platform where you can do that.
Yeah, I also see that. And thanks for mentioning that, because I think that's really, really important. The first thing that you need to focus would be building those human connections and human relationships. And then money comes naturally out of it, even without pushing. If you do that right, the right way, then money simply comes out of it. You don't have to really ask people to come and see your stuff and subscribe and read your things. It's just when you are yourself and connect with other people, they become naturally curious about what you have to say and what you deliver on this platform, and they come to you pretty organically, and it's really important. And yes, I also think it's Substack is right now the only place that you could do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've read a few notes, maybe, yeah, I read a few notes, but I think I saw a tweet or something like that, which the person said something along the lines that if if like from the perspective of the person, if you see someone in what they write, like, hey, like, comment, subscribe, whatever, you're completely like not encouraged at all of doing that. Like
yeah,
if you see that, it's like the opposite. I'm not going to like, I'm not going to comment, I'm not going to, but sometimes when you like take out that part, people are like, oh, this is cool stuff. I'm going to like, I'm going to comment. And it's sort of like a weird reverse psychology. Like you ask for people to X, 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 completely they are going to do something different.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Right. So if you had to start all over again on Substack, is there anything that you would do differently?
I definitely, I mean, it was also maybe because of the time, but if I will have to start like a new newsletter like tomorrow,
Yeah,
the first things that I would do is first like have something uh like in a way of being kind of organized, structured, not just like the default for everything, like
yeah,
the default email or the default bio or the default whatever. It will be like put, like some thought in making sure that all of these pieces are connected and make sense, and
yeah,
that the person that is on the receiving end doesn't get like the default for everything. That will be the first thing. The other thing is have like I will just, brainstorm ideas and write like the first few drafts, even if they are messy or they are not like super polished, but have something, to like the actual content out there, because it's one thing to subscribe to someone and they have one post and it's like, I wonder when he's going to post something new. So have some sort of backlog. And the other thing will be like from day one, I will be started writing notes and commenting on other people's notes and sort of being active, because I kid you not, I've subscribed to like 3 or 4 people because I maybe met them through a Zoom or a group or whatever, and was like, okay, I'm going to subscribe to your stuff and see what you're writing. And they have like 2 posts, and maybe the next one came 2 months later. And I'm like,
okay,
okay, I want to support you, but I really can't. Like,
yeah,
you're not making it easy for me. Like,
exactly.
no, I cannot,
Yeah, yeah,
So I will try to be like, put the stuff that people can actually like be present and be like, hey, I like your stuff, I read your stuff, instead of like, wondering maybe, because like even if you meet the person one-on-one, like you need to remember, and like we are not with the whole capacity to do this thing. So if you make it easy for others to start following your journey or your content, then all the more the better.
yeah, 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 definitely, definitely. All right. Okay. Now I think we are moving towards the closing of our session. So I have just three more questions for you. They're not about Substack, but I think people would be really curious. And one of them is, what are the three or one or two or however number of books that you can name that have significantly influenced your life? Or
I
just one.
let's see, like there's so many. Let I think one of the books that maybe started all this thing that I'm doing right now and I've done for so many years is the 4 Hour Chef by Tim Ferriss. That was the first book that sort of shifted something in my mind, in the sense of you can, like you can actually do this stuff. You can actually learn this stuff. It's not like something super outside of your realm. And the people that are there in the top 1% is because they are naturally gifted or they are superhumans or whatever. Like you can actually do this type of stuff, and he kind of illustrated that through the book in through his cooking journey. And that was kind of like the first thing for me that was, oh, can actually start doing stuff even if I have no advantages, even
Yeah.
if I actually have disadvantages for my background or whatever. So it was the first thing that I saw like a game-changing thing. And then the other book will be, of course, Atomic Habits from
Yeah.
James Clear, which actually I have right here,
Yeah, it's a
this
class.
one. And then and the other one is this one,
Yeah.
which is, I guess, one of the books that makes a lot of things possible. Is The Art of Impossible by Steven Kotler.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I've lended this book to my older sister, to my sister-in-law, to one of my aunts, and I even sort of got my mom to read a few chapters. But like I would be saying that is hyperbole, like how a book can change your life, but maybe this is one of those as well life-changing books because it's taking like a whole bunch of things out there in the self-development, in the positive psychology, in the neuroscience fields, and then condense all into practical like tidbits and step by steps that you can actually do. And then you yourself get surprised of what you can do. It's like, wow, I never thought I was, like I was able to do these things, but now that I know, it's like, what else can I do? That sort of approach that before things were impossible for me, and now they are possible. So if that's the case, what other impossibles can be possible? You know?
Yes. No, yes, the perception of impossible is really in our brains predominantly, most of it. So it's really amazing how you can actually change that and shift that and even bend reality. It's totally possible for as long as you believe it, of course, and you allow yourself to
Mm-hmm.
believe. And yeah, it's amazing. I haven't come across this book, so I will make sure that I will definitely check it. Uh,
Definitely, yeah, please.
Yes, yes, it's interesting. All right. Any productivity tips that you can share for Substackers?
Um, a couple ones, maybe this is also depending on the way kind of people write, but one of the things that have saved me like a lot of time and maybe effort, like the whole process of getting yourself to actually start writing, which sometimes is the biggest hurdle of all, is
Yeah,
like having templates of sort of the one. That also is in the case if you do sort of a newsletter that is not just like an essay, like just
yeah,
one essay and that's it. Because
yeah,
one of the things coming back full circle from the beginning of my journey where I learned to launch a newsletter is to try to make sections in
yeah.
your newsletter to make it easy for you to get the content, but make it easy for your readers to have some sort of uh, like a change of pace. It's not just
Yeah.
block of text. Like you give people more of what they want, and if they want something specifically in that issue, they can just read that part and maybe not ignore the rest. So in that sense, having kind of like templates of what do you want to do, like maybe write a piece and maybe write a few selected tweets or notes or a few things that you saw that week, a video or an article or a podcast, something that you can share. So having a template allows you to go back to previous ones, like
Yeah.
use the template, like start filling in the blanks, and all of a sudden now you have a new post like ready to go. That's one of the things. Sometimes it's harder to fill some sections than the other, but you can be like, okay, I have nothing here, so I'm just going to remove the section. That is another thing that is also, I mean, of course, you can use AI. That's like
Yeah.
no secret at this point. But the usage is more like use it sort of a sparring partner, like give it the draft and be like critique or point out things that are wrong
It's really
or point
important.
out
Yes.
things where I'm rambling and I'm saying a lot of stuff and I'm not saying anything. Like, how can I make this? more tangible, more crunchy, you know. And another I would guess will be my last one, and it's really unconventional, like you know, unpopular opinion. One of the things that you can save literal hours in a week
Okay.
is but not maybe having but not using like a YouTube account.
Right.
Like if you have like YouTube account, you're signing and you watch videos and then you are seeing comments, whatever. Like you waste a lot of time by posting comments that no one is going to read, or posting comments that some random person is going to start arguing against with that, or posting stuff that eventually gets you like bots or whatever that you don't want to. So it's better like, you know, like watch the video, have it in 1.5, 175 speed, maybe captions or whatnot, like get the insights or get the transcript, move on, do something else. Like you're going to save so much minutes here and there that are literally hours on a week that you could be doing something else. I don't know, going outside and touching grass.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, actually, for sure. All right. Okay, last question. If money wasn't an issue, what would you do? That's my favorite question.
Yeah, you know, something that would be really funny is that if money was really not an issue, I would actually do what I did, what I've done, like online, but physical. Like I will actually create an actual headquarters. I will actually create like a space, like places, departments. I will have like actual people, like you know, in the different kind of categories type of thing, and it'll be more like more James Bond like to expand the metaphor a little bit,
Yeah.
and then be able to have those sort of kind of maybe retreats or maybe you know challenges to go from whatever else, like hey, do you want to become like sort of a expert in this technology or this topic? Let's do 1 week, and then you go from zero to, for instance, you do zero from expert in blockchain, I don't know, zero to expert in image generation, zero to expert in video editing, I don't know, something like that, and be like sort of like retreat style bootcamp type of thing for people that want to go from zero to hero in something, whatever it is.
You know, some people are already doing that. It's really interesting. So
But physically, like,
yeah, physically, yeah. In one of the newsletters of on Substack, I think it was Lenny, but I have also seen in others. So Lenny Rashitsky, who is writing about product development.
mhm.
It's also in my part, so I'm really interested. So one of his subscriber benefits is actually physical meetings, not so much retreats, but physical meetups of the community. It's really amazing.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be super cool.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And it's amazing, especially when it is like community fueled and it's inspired by the community.
Yeah,
Um,
you're not just a bunch of random weirdos on the internet. You're
yes,
actually like a group of people that are doing cool stuff.
yeah, yeah, exactly. With same interest and the same mindset. I know,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I love that it's actually basically you want to do the same thing, but at a greater scale, which is, which is, you know, some people say that this means that you already live an abundant life. That so it's a matter of time, maybe, and fingers crossed you achieve it sooner.
Thank you. That's funny that you mentioned that because I actually wrote a post on that whole of like if you had everything that you wanted, what would you do after?
Yeah,
And it was in a point of time in my life where I quote unquote made it, like achieved
yeah.
what society says that you are successful, and it still was like, okay, and now what? And then it's like, okay, let's take a sabbatical. Okay, I took a sabbatical. Now what? Dude, I'm bored. I want to work. You know, so it's
Come back.
super weird.
Go back to work immediately.
Yeah, I want to do something. I want to create something. I don't know.
Right. Well, that was an amazing spotlight session. Thank you so much, Juan, for this. It was really, I really enjoyed it. And I'm sure our viewers will definitely enjoy it. And for the people who are watching, please subscribe to Juan's newsletter. It's amazing learning experience. And you're going to be learning a lot of stuff from it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you, thank you. I enjoy it as well. It was really fun talking about this stuff.
Thank you. Join me for a spotlight session like this. All you need to do is to join one of my monthly challenges, either notes or writing. Stay consistent and make sure you add yourself to the accountability tracker. Oh, and you have to be one of my paid members. If you complete just one of those challenges in just one single month, it's highly probable that I will select you for a spotlight session so that you can talk about yourself, share your personal story, and spread the word about your Substack so that more people will learn about it and hopefully become your subscribers. I distribute those sessions to my entire subscriber list on Substack, ConvertKit, NowKit, and my Medium account and my social media channels. It's easy to win those challenges, and all you need to do is just to stay consistent. I see you inside.